Go back to being fired on Twitter from the radio station.
Bro, I woke up the next morning to Twitter notifications. I thought I was dead. People talking about, man, we gonna miss Roy. I always love Roy. I'm like, is heaven a Ramada Inn in Burbank?
Hello there, everyone. Craig Melvin here from my basement bar, my bourbon bar here. And this is Glass Half Full. This is where we talk about the moments and the milestones that shape people personally, professionally, shape people that you think you know. Roy Wood Jr., you thought you knew him. At least I thought I did. He's, of course, the hilarious guy who was the correspondent on The Daily Show.
Roy Wood Jr., everybody!
Bunch of stand-up specials, acting as well. The correspondent's dinner where he brought the house down.
President Biden thinks I'm the dad of y'all Family Matters.
He's also written a new memoir, more on that in just a moment. But Roy and I had a wide-ranging and fascinating conversation, deeply personal as well. He talked about his family. He talked about those little moments along the way that really turn you into who you are ultimately going to become. And there were some times where it got a little emotional as well. But I hope you enjoy our conversation. All right, Roy Wood Jr., we like to start every episode with a toast. I'm a bourbon guy, so I've got my nectar of the gods here.
I too.
Okay.
Scotch today.
Okay.
We're going scotch today, Craig Melvin. We're gonna pour up a little sip of that right there.
I love that. Oh, that's about 4 fingers. You might kind of that's my kind of pour.
It's okay. I work on Saturdays. You don't work on weekdays.
What's one thing that Roy Wood Jr. would like to toast?
I would like to toast to free speech, and may it long live, truly and wholly, eventually.
Cheers to that, brother.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's a good toast. I can get behind that.
Yes, Lord.
We like to talk about moments, the moments that have shaped who we've become personally and professionally, the moments where you face your fears, just the big moments in your life. What would you say is one of those defining moments that shaped your life?
You know, when I look back at my life and I look back at the totality of it, most of the major things that really changed me were in my lows. It wasn't my highs. Like, it was never, oh, when I did Letterman or when I booked that gig, everything changed. It was like, nah. When you found out you got fired from the radio station over Twitter, that was pretty monumental. When you made the decision to leave The Daily Show, that was pretty monumental. When you quit on a comedy club booker who was 60% of your work at the time, that was pretty monumental. And all like very scary decisions, but necessary decisions. And for me, my life has just been a series of moments of just jumping into the fog without a parachute. And then, you know, I don't want to say figuring it out on the way down. You have some degree of strategy, but, you know, the moments where growth came in my career, they were not moments where everything was being wonderful and celebrated and beautiful. There were moments where I was most scared, but also most courageous.
You've done most of your growth in the valley, not at the top of the mountain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Go back to being fired on Twitter from the radio station.
You know how radio is, man. Morning radio is crazy. Morning radio, I don't think anybody gets to leave morning radio the way they want. At the time, I was doing mornings at a station in Birmingham, Alabama, and this is a station where I had started as an intern when I came out of journalism school, and everything was cool. And I got into a dispute with the station at the time. It was an internal dispute. But in 2010, I was doing, I took a job back at the station to host the show. Big deal. Hey, Roy Wood's coming home. He coming back to the station that made him. As soon as I get back to Birmingham, Craig, I book a sitcom.
Oh.
So I go, hey, for 3 months, can I do the show from a hotel room in Burbank? They say, cool. We do the show. Everything's great. Sitcom gets renewed And I go back to my bosses and I go, look, give me 3 more months in Burbank. And the way they looked at it is that was 3 months that you weren't in the community. And if you can't be in the community, we don't think you need to host this show. So we're going to give you a choice. Go do the sitcom or do this show. And I told them I would think about it. And I think just saying I would think about it it's like a relationship.
Right.
It's either me or them other women.
Right.
Let me think about it. Bro, I woke up the next morning to Twitter notifications. I thought I was dead. People talking about, man, we gonna miss Roy. I always love Roy. I'm like, is heaven a Ramada Inn in Burbank? And I looked online, and they had sent a statement to local media saying that the show was canceled.
Yeah, that's kind of beat up. That's kind of beat up.
And that's a place that I've given 12 years of my life to, and I'm not. I mean, we're 15 years past it, so I got a different mindset on it now.
Yeah, that's the business we're in.
It can turn on you in a heartbeat, man.
It can turn on you in a moment. It can turn on you in a moment.
But if that don't happen, I don't get the Daily Show.
There you go. And that's one of the things I have found talking to a lot of people. Like, you're in these moments where it's like, oh, woe is me. I can't believe I got fired. I can't believe that I didn't get picked up for another season. And then all of a sudden some time passes and it's like, okay, that window closed, but this door just flung wide open.
Yeah.
And we're not having this conversation had you not gotten to the Daily Show. Like, that would be the biggest moment, it would seem to me, for you professionally, no?
Yeah. By far the perfect marriage of my comedy skill set and my journalism degree.
White supremacists need to learn that by wreaking havoc, they're only gonna hurt their own cause. See, black people, we learned that a long time ago. We learned that lesson with OJ. OJ went free, black people went crazy, so white people locked his ass up again.
You just have to be prepared and you have to be ready, and getting the Daily Show, I think, not just getting the Daily Show,
yeah,
but working.
But you didn't get it, you earned it.
That's fair.
You earned it. They weren't like, oh, let's go out and give it a... No, you earned that. You earned that.
I auditioned before and didn't get it. I auditioned in like 07, maybe 07, 08.
I didn't know that.
Dude, I hope nobody knows because it was a terrible audition.
But,
the tape is out there somewhere floating. They got the tape.
Was it one of those auditions where even in the room, you knew this ish is not going bad?
Story. Let me tell you when I knew I wasn't getting it. So I'm sitting there. I go in and audition. I think it's okay. I go back out the room, and I leave my car keys in the room.
Oh,
so I can't leave. So I have to sit outside the audition room and wait for the person in there auditioning to finish. And I'm listening through the door. Oh, his brother's murdered. Just every joke is killing. He hit me inflections, and I can hear it. And he walks out the room, and, yeah, see y'all later. Yeah. And they all giggling in there. And then I walk my ass in there, and everybody got quiet. And I come, I left my car keys. Left my car keys. Thank you. Hope to hear from you soon. You wasn't gonna hear nothing from me soon. That brother's name was Wyatt Cenac, by the way.
Oh,
just a little dude.
Yeah, it was a good moment.
Black correspondent. Yeah, but Daily Show was a blessing, man. It really was, and not just getting the show, not just earning that, but working with a staff that understood what my comedic voice was and amplifying that. At no point did they try to make me something that I wasn't from a talent standpoint. They let me talk about a lot of super black issues.
No, I remember.
Funny in a way that worked for their audience, man.
This is about forcing prisoners to perform labor for free.
You're right. You know what, man? Let me just mosey on into Louisiana. Boom! Next thing you know, I walk around and then they got me for jaywalking. Now I'm 12 years a slave, and I got to wait for Brad Pitt to come and save my ass. No, thank you. I am safer here in Mississippi, which is something no black man has ever said.
So I'd say by far the biggest feather in my cap.
I don't watch it as much as I used to. Just not, part of it's just because of my schedule and small kids. But it does seem like sometimes that the show itself has lost its way, and I'm not sure. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot because I know you're an alum.
Is that a critique of the Daily Show or political satire as a whole?
That's fair. That's fair.
Because I sometimes wonder if the idea of losing your way is measured in the efficacy of the messaging, and does it reach you, and does it get to you, and does it resonate, or does the show have a sharp view or an opinion? Because the goal when I was there, and I imagine it's still the same, is what can we say that no one else has said about this thing yet, and how do we make it funny? I wonder sometimes if the assessment of not just Daily Show, but political satire as a whole is rooted in an exhaustion. And also because everybody got a camera phone now, they sitting in the car with their seatbelt on, giving you their opinions too. So it's hard to avoid all of these opinions. I think because part of why I left, because it dovetails into this point a little bit, part of why I left the show was because they were still trying to figure out what the hosting dynamic was going to be. I left before Jon Stewart was in the conversation, right? And so we know it's not Hassan Minhaj. We may guest hosts. We may get a temporary, we don't know. We're not sure. And I'm thinking, all right, the merger's about to happen. This Skydance Paramount merger started years ago. And I thought the merger was going to happen then. And so I go, well, it's a presidential year. If there's ever a year for there to be a new political satire show of any kind, if I ever have any shot of hosting something, thing one, I know it's not going to be Daily Show. So if I want to host something,
why did you know it wasn't going to be the Daily Show?
I didn't. It's relationships. Everything is relationships, bro. You know whether or not somebody's into you. You know that they may not hate you,
right?
But you know whether or not they're into you. And if the rumor was Hassan Minhaj at the time, coming out of the writer's strike, when you discover that, as it was said in the media, we heard it was going to be Hassan, but it's not going to be Hassan now. So, well, what are we going to do? We don't know. Well, if you knew for sure that it was Hassan and you hadn't denied that, well, then I know for sure it wasn't me because I was around the exact same amount of time when you were considering Hassan. I'm not offended, but I also am smart enough to know that it might not be me this time.
Yeah.
Because you clearly didn't have a number two in mind. You've decided to completely revamp the search again. You have the right to do that. And I also have a right to decide whether or not I want to stay while you figure that out. So if I am out, because let me just walk you through my doomsday scenarios in my head at the time. Hassan's not the host. Because the dialogue I had with myself was, if I'm not the host, but it's a host that I like and it's a host that rocks with me, then I will stay through the presidential election and then figure out where I land in the world of media. Well, I know it's not Hassan anymore. Okay. Well, then who's it going to be? I don't know. Could be Chelsea Handler, might be Sarah Silverman. There were rumors, Man, what if it's Leslie Jones? If it's I like Leslie, I'll stay. I don't know if Chelsea would have me. I don't really have a deep enough relationship with her. She may bring in her own correspondence. What if the merger hits and they do a cost cut and they cut the show from 4 days a week to 1 day a week?
Right.
Well, if you have a show that's 1 day a week, you don't need these 6 correspondents.
Right.
If you got a show that's 1 day a week, you don't need you don't need 6 correspondents for a 1 day a week show. You don't. And if it's a merger, you're cutting costs. So the first thing you're going to do is cut salary, which means you're going to cut talent. I'm one of the senior correspondents. So in my brain, I'm in the crosshairs of that cut. And when you couple that with coming off of a radio show where you got fired over Twitter.
Yeah.
Bro, they shoot movies and then don't release them.
Yeah, yeah.
What's promised? Really, what's truly promised in this? So you're asking me to stay around with all of these different variables? No. There's an election coming up, and if anybody's trying to do anything new, they're going to need talent for it. This is the best time to make myself available for some other opportunity. I'm going to jump into the fog.
Took advantage of the moment.
Bringing it back to your point about feeling like the show has lost its bite, what I sometimes also feel like political satire used to have the weapon of shame because the person that the jokes were targeted at had shame. We have a shameless society. You can't embarrass people anymore. So if I can't embarrass you, then how much teeth? It limits the efficacy of the joke or the humor or the thing that you're directing at something.
My grandma Florence used to ask that question all the time when she would see something that was just inexplicable or run across something that was just crazy. She would always say, "Boy, whatever happened to shame? Whatever happened?" And back then, like when we were kids, we were like, "Yeah, people should." And now you're right. Like no one's embarrassed about anything.
No.
Speaking of family.
Yes.
Roy, you write a lot about your family in the book. First of all, it's not PG. We want to make sure that they're not elementary school kids. Elementary school kids can't read this as part of
Somebody
the...
asked me, they were like, you should come to the library
Oh, no.
or the reading program. I was like,
No, if you do, start with the story about getting picked up at the liquor store, or by the guy at the liquor store. And he wanted to make sure that you knew he was a drunk and not a pedophile.
Yes.
It resonated with me because I'm pretty sure in my childhood there was a point where my dad pulled something like that too. But let's talk about dads, because people who know you, they know the Don Cornelius story. They know how there might have been a universe in which you didn't have to work if your dad had actually stayed on as the EP of Soul Train.
correct.
But there's stuff in the book that you write about your dad that I don't think a lot of folks know. There's this dad that the world sees, and then there's a dad that Roy Wood Jr. sees growing up. Was there a moment when you were a kid when you knew that your dad may not be what he seemed to everyone else?
I'd say the first time I saw him and my mom argue, my parents were separated essentially by the time I was born. Married, but separated. It hit the fan for them real early. And then somewhere around 3rd, 4th grade, my parents reconciled and we moved in. My mom and I moved from Memphis to Birmingham, and we moved in with my dad. And because I never had my father in my home up until 3rd or 4th grade, I didn't really have a concept of what the role of a father was. It's just, I have a dad who comes to Memphis once a month. He checks some homework. He take me to Liberty Land. Shout out to the old school, Fair Park in Memphis. And then he'd drive back to Birmingham. Because I have aunt and uncles that are in loving relationships, I understood my parents' dynamic was a little different. Like, they didn't sleep in the same room. I'm the ninth. I'm my mama's only child, but I'm the 9th of 11 kids. I have 2 younger half-brothers with whom my father was raising with another woman. So there were nights my dad didn't come home, but I'm used to him never being home. So if anything, the nights he was home were kind of the more odd nights, but it just felt like parenting. And also when we got to Birmingham, my mom had a much more affluent kind of, black, not aristocratic, but like she was around more successful black folks.
Got it.
When we got to Birmingham and I got my little league teammates and they got a mama that's an alcoholic, and then you ride home with these teammates and they got the abusive stepdaddy, and I saw every possible bad home. I just came home. My dad just wasn't home. That's like Memphis. All right, cool. Like, it didn't seem like dysfunction, but it wasn't until middle school and high school when my parents started arguing a lot more that it started dawning on me the history between them and what that means. Like, damn, like the days where you dread seeing your pop's car in the driveway. And I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but
I can relate. Yeah.
You walk in the house and you see his keys on the counter and you just take a deep breath before you walk into the doorway.
Yep.
Like, here we go.
Here we go. Right. Here we go. Let me brace for some drama.
You have a man that has won every journalism award, interviewed every relevant person. My pops covered every major war and riot, from the Soweto riots and Zimbabwe up to Rodney King. You name a riot or a war, he was there.
I know.
But at home, there's a lot left to be desired. And it wasn't until my pops died when I was 16, and you get older. And when I got the job at the radio station, everybody at that radio station was essentially hired to some degree by my dad. They all got their ends in journalism. Everybody in journalism in that city knew and worked with my pops. And the older I got, the more you start hearing all these great stories about this man. And people think they're telling you that to make you feel good, but it's pissing you off because you're just getting more and more accounts of just how good he was to other people. But he fell short with you. One of the worst things that happens, I followed my 2 younger brothers on social media. And I love them to death, and we tight. I'm tighter with them than I am any of my older siblings because of the age gap differentials.
Yeah.
But my 2 younger siblings, when Facebook first started, whatever this nonsense is, 6-7 years ago, like, you know how Facebook could just show you a picture of the memory.
Right.
Good old days.
Right.
I don't even go on Facebook or Instagram on Father's Day or my pop's birthday or the day he died. I don't touch social media because I know they're posting tributes to Pops. And it's not that I don't love and don't appreciate what good things I was able to glean from my father, but my little brothers will post a picture, and they got the old school Polaroid joints that print it, and it has the date at the bottom of the picture. So they'll post a picture with them and Dad doing some regular him at football practice. Watch, he never show up to none of my stuff. He never go to none of my stuff. Pictures of them on road trips. And Craig, I can look at the date on the picture and tell you whether or not the lights was on at the house that me and my mama was staying at. And so I don't know what you do with that. I don't know how you put that together. The one thing I'm thankful for is that I was able to do Finding Your Roots.
You are full of surprises.
And that television show gave me a lot of insight into my pop's upbringing that he never gave me because he never brought me around most of the folks on his side, not extended family. I know all my siblings, but I don't know cousins, aunts, uncles, or I don't know nobody over on that side of the family. Met them all once at his funeral. So I go on that show, and Dr. Henry Louis Gates starts talking to me about how my dad lost his dad when he was 4. Then, when he moved to Chicago with his mother, there was no, according to census data, there was no new male head of household ever in his life. When he was 16, he suffered a debilitating physical trauma. So now you're disabled for the rest of your life. And you got no pops to pour self-esteem into you. At some point, that depression is going to manifest itself in one of many ways. And for him, it was sex or women or whatever attention it was.
Roy, it's funny you bring that up because for a long time, I harbored this resentment toward my dad. Charlamagne and I have talked about this a fair amount. And I mean, to the point where, like, we were estranged in my teens and 20s for a while. And as I got older, and as I started doing what I'm doing now, like, you know, journalism and talking to folks, meeting different folks, asking questions, and my aperture was widened. And you get to a point where you realize, well, my dad was an addict. And I didn't fully appreciate how that addiction would manifest itself in fatherhood. And then I got to a point where I started doing some research. My dad was born in a prison in West Virginia. My grandma, she ran numbers, she ran liquor, she got in trouble, she got locked up. And I tell people, one of my sources of pride is she was in the same prison as Billie Holiday. But so he grew up never feeling like he belonged. His father was never around. And when he did come around, he didn't even know who his dad was until he was 12 or 13, my father. And so for a long time, I was expecting him to be something he wasn't capable of being. He hadn't seen it, so he couldn't be it.
Training. Never got the training.
Never got the training. It's that generational trauma we all always talk about. But you're breaking it. You have a son.
Yeah.
And how old is he?
He's 9 now. And I have been around, you know, when I was holding him when he was born, you have the thoughts of all the things you're going to do with your son. We're going to do this. And, well, who did I learn that from? But where did I learn that? And I'm sitting there holding my son, and I just realized so many moments that my pops, my father, and I never had. And it made me really angry. And then as I started thinking of all of the people that somehow, I guess, filled in the gaps, whether they know it or not, on being a mentor or giving me game, I became very touched and proud. And I was like, well, because I don't want to die early, Craig, and my son's account of me is good stories from strangers. So let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you why I am the way I am. And some of that is your granddad, but a lot of it is people that I'm just grateful that God put me in their orbit. And that's the book. It's just stories of and some of it's funny, but at the end of it all, there was something to be learned, there was something to be gained. And I speak as much as I can about the complexities between my pops, because it's not an indictment of him. It's just all in the spirit of how these things changed how I grew up. If you argue with my mom and you don't pay the power bill, and you know she's in law school and all of her money is tied up in tuition and what little bills she can pay, that's manipulative. It's abusive at its core. So then I see that, and then I go out and I start working 30 to 35 hours a week at 15 and 16, so that not knowing the next time you and my mama get into an argument and you don't pay something, I can go upstairs to the Nike shoe box and pull out $100 and give it to my mama. We can make sure the heat stay on so we ain't sleeping triple layered. So that in turn gave me the work ethic that's made me everything I am today.
See, it's
What do you do with that?
well,
Roy, you work hard. Yeah, but I worked hard because.
but that's the blessing. That's the blessing. Have you ever thought about that? Because I've thought about this sometimes. Like if I had grown up in a house with Heathcliff Huxtable, not Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable. If I had grown up like that, I don't know if I'm talking to you like this. I don't. If the road had been smooth for 18 years, would Roy Wood Jr. have been as funny as he is?
No.
As insightful as he is? No, I don't think so either. Do you?
That tenacity was birthed from a need to survive. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I had the craziest, most toughest, most poverty, Ghostface killer, pick the roaches out the cereal, John peed the bed, 5 in the... We had dessert some nights. Not only did we have meals, we had dessert, but also there's an emotional trauma that comes with that. And it to the point of that, like changing the way you move and stuff. I remember my junior year of high school, we get to high school early and we walk the halls and socialize. You just don't go to class. You don't go to homeroom, right? And our principal pulled me aside and pulled me into his office one morning, and he showed me the list of everybody in the school. He showed me everybody's GPA, and I had the second to last GPA in my class at a 2.2. The person below me had been expelled. And the principal's giving me this long lecture about the education and the importance, and you must, and I couldn't tell him because it was illegal. I thought my mom or somebody would go to jail, but I'm like, bro, I work 35 hours a week, and then I come to this building and try to learn this shit. So sorry if I forgot Miss Shaw's U.S. history homework. There's a joke I used to tell back in the day when I was younger that I was a C student and I didn't want A's. How much do I need to know to not take this class again? That's a C. But that was my approach. Yeah. And once I learned that standardized testing can offset lower GPAs, and my mom is an educator. My mom's been in higher ed for coming up on 40 years, 50 years now.
No.
We had all the Kaplan ACT and SAT practice test. Man, I ACT'd out the roof and got in college. I think I graduated high school ultimately with like maybe a 2.5, but you can't explain to someone, hey, my grades are low because I'm breaking child labor laws to make sure there's enough money to make sure the IRS doesn't take the house because my father didn't believe in paying in taxes. And when he died my senior year, the first thing the IRS did was try to come for the house and the cars. So I had to take a day off from school to take all of his collectible cameras and sell them at pawn shops. So yeah, I missed the history test.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the hustle, the ingenuity, you call the audibles, and when you get out on the road, you know how to survive anything. Hang on, I'm gonna take a sip after that one.
Yeah, no, that was.
I'm gonna take a sip.
Take two. We're going to pivot to a section called Craig's Curiosities. These are just things that I've come up with that I've always been curious about.
All right, Craig's Curiosities, go.
Tell me about a time that Roy Wood Jr. bombed on stage.
The Apollo Theater probably stands out.
No, not the Apollo.
Yeah, the Apollo.
What happened?
Not just like a regular, like Apollo is like a functioning talent place outside of the TV shows we see. I went on, and basically I was nervous. They smelled it. I was talking too fast. I didn't have confidence in my body language. And technically I didn't get booed, but I got booed. So you're supposed to perform for 3 minutes. Somewhere around 2 minutes, 20 seconds, I can feel the boo. This is what they don't tell you about the Apollo. The Apollo it's a very wide room.
Yes.
Shallow.
Yes.
So everybody's right up on you. Like the Apollo Theater, from stage to the back of the room, is like sitting across a high school basketball court. The same way you can see somebody's face on the other side of the court, that's the back of the Apollo. So you can see every single black person's face, and you can see the disapproval just slowly dripping down their face. You can see muscles starting to contract as they prepare the boo. You can see the collarbone. You get them little ligaments above the collarbone, get the stretching. And I could feel the boo coming, and I cut my performance short, and I said, good night. And I walked off the stage. And as soon as I walk off the stage, it's time to go back out on the stage to get Kiki Shepard. It's me and the other comedian. We were separate. And in those days, this is 2002. In those days, amateur comedy was separate from amateur night, so it could be judged more fairly.
Yes.
So they bring me and the other comedian back out on stage, and we stand there. And now Kiki Shepard is standing over there to get her first guy. Give it up for, what y'all think about Dexter Angry? Yeah. And now, what y'all think about Roy Wood Jr.? The boos were longer and louder than what they would have been
had you stayed on stage.
Yep. If you'd have just stayed on stage, at least the Sandman could come get you. And then you can do something funny with the Sandman. And just, oh, I lost. It's okay. But it's that thing of that you can't run from failure, bro. You can't run from the boo. Learn from it.
Embrace it.
Yourself in it.
Embrace it. Yes.
Man, the boo was way longer and way worse. And the Apollo Theater also, here's another important little fact about the TV magic y'all don't know. After you get booed and the show ends, you just leave the theater, and now you're out on the sidewalk with the same 3,000 people who booed your ass 20 minutes ago.
And they're this close to you.
Yeah, and they all put their head down, and like some New York, and this is New York. This is my first time in New York as well, so it's just a whole week of just culture shock. You got to tighten up, man. You got to tighten up. It's all right. It's all right. You have some guts. You came up here. You came up to New York. You got some guts. All right. All right. But you got to tighten up. That was a rough one because that was also my first television credit, and I'm out of college, and it's happening. My career, good. I'm finna be in the Ice Cube movie. Wrong.
Wrong. But again, had it not been for that moment, you don't end up where you are now. Yeah. The boo shaped you.
It got me in a place where that following year, like BET's Comic View was the premier comedy showcase show, and an appearance on that show would ensure that you got booked at numerous clubs and your money went up. By being booed on the Apollo, I no longer have tape to submit to BET. So that essentially regressed me for about 2 years before I could finally get a comedy club tape that was decent enough that BET people could forget about the boo.
2 quick questions for the road. Give me one moment that Roy Wood Jr. is still chasing.
Perfection in parenting.
Man, we're all chasing that. Is that realistic? That's not achievable.
I don't know, man. It's the idea that I'm not present enough. I know I'm not present enough. I'm gone for a reason. I make sure my son knows why, but I'm at the idea of I can lay down and go, all right, I did a good job today. Because I feel like you have work, you have parenting, and you have like rest and recreation. I feel like you can only pick 2 of those a day to be good at.
That's fair. I don't know. I would maintain that someone said to me years ago, because I it's better now because I've got a more of a set schedule. But when I was crisscrossing the country as a correspondent, yeah, I'd spend 3 days somewhere and wouldn't see my son or later my daughter, but quality over quantity. So if you make peace with the fact that you're not going to be at every baseball game or basketball game or recital, but when you are around, you're there and you're dialed in. And I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, I'm going to miss some stuff, but we're taking hella vacations, and which is how I make up for the guilt,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I try to do that with my son, man. I try my best. The thing I try to communicate more than anything in detail is why I am away and what is happening when I'm away. So we swap videos. Hey, man, I'm in Vancouver today. This is the sound man. Here's the job that is occurring today.
Yeah.
So that you don't just think I'm away and that you're not being thought of.
What's one moment that you would hope people remember you for?
I just hope that, Florida A&M and the city of Birmingham know that I always rode for them and always tried to do stuff to help them. I know that at the end of all of this, in terms of my entertainment trajectory, all roads lead back to Birmingham. I'm lucky, bro. I'm very lucky to make it out of a place where a lot of folks don't make it out of. I'm talking about Alabama. And so to be able to go home and do what I can to pour back into local programs.
Yeah.
I do what I can now on the literacy and the reading side. And there's literary nonprofits I work with and Birmingham Urban League. And my high school, we try to do stuff to promote sports and, trying to be part of people that, Major League Baseball came a couple years ago for the Willie Mays.
I was there.
And then they poured money into the West Side and Fairfield and redid his park, which now creates a viable facility for local kids to now play the sport of baseball without having to travel with impossible public transit to another side of town to do something that'll keep you out of a gang and off the streets. I'm just somebody, I love my state, I love my college, I love my son, and I hope that my body of work will show that all 3 of those things were the truth,
The show is called Glass Half Full. Would you say you consider yourself a glass half full person or a glass half empty person?
Half empty.
That was quick.
Half empty.
That was quick.
I don't think I've ever stopped and rested my laurels on anything that I've done or accomplished or the bright side. There's always more to do. And I know that may not always be the healthiest approach for the proponents of mental health and self-care, but when you have opportunities, you have to seize them. People talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I've always said that to me, the light is the train coming to run me over. So I have to keep running, even though it's dark. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I have to keep going.
Cheers, my friend. The book is it's a great read. I'm glad you did it. It's a love letter to fatherhood and not traditional fatherhood.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, Roy Wood Jr.
Brother. Good times.
Well, there you have it. Roy Wood Jr. And you thought you knew him, right? His book, by the way, it's called The Man of Many Fathers, a love letter to non-traditional fatherhood and mentorship I would maintain. But I really enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of Glass Half Full. If you enjoyed our conversation, the corporate overlords want me to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. Even if they're not your friends, you could share it with them, I guess. You can also drop a comment and let us know what you thought of the conversation. I'm even open to suggestions for future conversations, areas for improvement as well. Leave me a comment. I'll see you next time. Cheers. The glass is half full.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.